Welcome to the running channel. Not much running going on right now because I'm driving, because we're on our way for our very next running with in the series, and this time we're going to be running with the former Formula One driver Mark Webber. So it's a bit of a road trip to get there. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome to Running With, and I'm joined by Mark Webber this morning on a beautiful morning.
Stunning, stunning. Welcome to the Chilterns. This is the Alps of the Chilterns.
This is a phenomenal location. Thanks so much for bringing us here and having us along in your stomping ground. You know this area really well.
Yeah, God, I've been in and around here for 20 years, so whether it's mountain biking, running. I was trying to think on the way up in the car here whether it was like probably, it's got to be thousands of hours I've been up here, so yeah, no dog today, so he's having a rest day, but brilliant to be up here and yeah, soak it all up.
You mentioned the dog there. I hear you have a bit of a menagerie of animals, is that right?
Yes, yes.
What have you got?
Well, alpacas, donkeys, dogs, cats, goldfish. Yeah, so my wife is to blame for half of them, but yeah, so it's yeah.
Quite a busy household.
Country boy as well, so I grew up in the country in Australia, so I do like a bit of I am an animal lover, a total animal lover.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And a lover of the great outdoors as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah, growing up in Australia, it was brilliant for me to be able to train outside, especially off-road. Like, I love this type of environment. I'm not a big city guy, I suppose, so it was nice to have the opportunity to grow up in the country in Australia, and then since I got here, with my sport, obviously being within racing and Formula One, it was very important for me to stay in shape, so this was my release as well as conditioning for my job.
So you turned your love of running into your work. Tell us a bit about what you do now.
Yeah, well, Aussie Grit Apparel was born out of my love for the outdoors, growing up in Australia, and I think that, you know, I had a drawer full of so many different brands with different things, and I was like, you know, none of these garments really talk to each other in terms of, you know, how they fit and how they, yeah, I've got my little favourites, and it's like, oh, I want a bit shorter there, a bit longer there, and also just the comfort and toughness, I suppose, getting that quality in the garment. So I thought, let's do our own stuff. Let's do our own stuff, you know, be famous, you know, be happy and celebrate, I suppose, where I'm from in Australia, and have that opportunity for people to come out, and there's nothing better than me, nothing that I get more satisfaction than seeing people in our kit out in this environment, yeah, enjoying the great outdoors. So yeah, it's exciting. We've got some great traction already. A lot of people, especially in the running space, are really enjoying our gear. Where that comfort meets tough, and all the wash cycles, and just making sure that, you know, you can buy a product that can be something you can really, you know, trust. Yeah. And you're pretty hands-on in the process, is that right? I've read. Yes, in the factory quite a lot, which is great. We've got some, you know, some really good in straight away, you know, with my racing background. So that was really cool to put some of the principles that I learnt with my racing into sort of fabric selection, and how we're, you know, where the seam lines are, and just getting all those things into place. I want to ask you a few quick fire questions. Yeah. So these are the ones that we ask on our Running With series. Yeah. So first up, do you measure in miles or kilometres when you go up? Kilometres. Kilometres. Yeah. Is that an Aussie thing? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Do you ever listen to music when you run? Very rarely. Very rarely. In the gym, I'll try and put a bit of music on, but when I'm outside, yeah, you know, I like music. I love music, but when I'm training, I rarely listen to music. So if you're like in the gym, just on the treadmill or whatever, and you've got your music on, what would be your power-up song? Like, what's the one that really gets you going? Oh, God, bit of AC/DC. Nice. Yeah, love it. That will get me going. Bit of back in black. Yeah, there you go. Easy, yeah. So brilliant. And when you go out, if you're training for an event, yeah, and you go out for a run, oh, you want to join in too? He wants to join. Hello. Yeah, when you're out on a training run for an event, do you measure in time or distance
for your runs?
Time.
Yeah?
Yeah, because conditions change. You know, if you're doing whatever volume you're doing, getting yourself organised, time, if it's intervals, if it's distance, I mean, it's still volume, it's time on your feet, right? So it's hard to, yes, if you've got a specific distance in mind, you try to tick off, but, you know, give or take, you know, you're going to be within a reason of a certain distance, but with elevation gain and all those types of things, it's, you know, you can have a very punchy 45-minute run, which clearly could be the equivalent of a 70-minute run, you know, if it's in these conditions, for example. So, you know, I know you've got to have a goal in mind for what distance you're trying to complete, but obviously time is a very important factor, I think, in training.
So, when you were driving, when you were racing, where was your favourite circuit to race?
I always enjoy racing the British Grand Prix, to be honest, because the track, generally your favourites are the sort of, it's not really about the venue, it's always about the track for us, because we are very, again, focused on the job and sort of the memories you have at the places you're successful at, and when you had Grand Prix victories at, then of course that's my favourite because I won there, you know. So Brazil, Sao Paulo, amazing track. Not my most favourite city in the world, so that's a classic case of sort of the yin and the yang of actually the emotions of a venue like that. So I've always had good results in Brazil. Monte Carlo obviously was tremendous experience for me to win there a few times. So it's my job to like all the tracks. You know, I should have liked all the tracks, but there's naturally you can't fully fall in love with every single circuit.
No. Were there any that were sort of your nemesis that you were always a bit like, oh, not that one?
Bahrain. I always struggled in Bahrain. I didn't really like that. Just the way the circuit was, there was a lot of low speed corners. I liked really, really quick corners, fast, sort of old traditional types of tracks. And then they started to build at the back of my career, they started to build these much sort of slower circuits with grandstands, so really good for the fans. Great for the fans, but average for me. You know? I wasn't good on those slow corners, only the fast ones.
Kind of okay?
Yeah, I'm keeping busy, mate, yeah. I mean, I'm not doing any more racing, but keeping my head down. Head down, ass up, staying out of trouble.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
So, exactly.
Well, I certainly miss you in
thanks, mate, yeah, appreciate that.
Sure.
No, I do a bit of TV work, bit of fun, but
good for you.
Too old, mate.
Let's talk about recovery.
Recovery, okay, good.
Talk about rest and recovery.
You're taking me up and down all these hills. I'm not in recovery mode yet, mate.
We'll go and get cake and coffee after.
Okay, you can do that. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's do that, yeah.
I do talk about cake a lot, actually, on this channel. I love cake. So, you know, obviously as a professional sports person, you know the importance of rest and recovery as well.
Yeah.
What are your main kind of must-haves when it came to recovery?
Sleep, number one. You need to rest, obviously, the body to literally recover from, you know, physically or mentally, having the chance to recoup. You know, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, you need to get some of that, right? And plenty of it if you can, quality of sleep. Of course, if you can get in the water, I think, you know, I had a great Special Forces soldier always told me that water is poor man's physio. So if you can get in the water, get the legs going, you know, so that's nice to just unload all those tendons and unload, you know, some of the wear and tear that you might have. Of course, diet, you know, it's doing all the basics really, really well. And I think we feel guilty that, you know, having those rest periods or getting the volume right for whatever your particular training, whatever race you're training for, I should say, because, you know, I always felt never be too shy to always sometimes come back feeling you could have in training feel still trying to feel reasonably fresh when you do come back, because you want to get back out there a bit more. And a lot of people leave their best times out there in the training fields instead of when they want to really do the time and peak towards that main event. Do your PBs when you need to do your PBs. You know, not when you're doing training.
And it's so easy to get carried away, isn't it? And think, oh yeah, but I feel great, I'm going to really go for it. Yeah,
that's when sometimes you've got to have that license with yourself and to throttle back and get that right. Discipline.
So when you were, you know, in the midst of all of your training and stuff, what would a week look like for you?
Well, it depends on, in terms of good driving through the gate, good driving. It depends on travel loads, of course, if I'm jet lagged or if we've just got European races, but if I've got to go to, you know, if I'm going to Mexico or going to Malaysia, or we've got a body clock involved to try and get yourself going. But a traditional week, you definitely train five days a week. Mixture of a bit of everything. Of course, there's some specific work towards being in the cockpit, which is neck training,
Yeah.
glute work, lunge work, lower back, all those strong muscle groups that we need for me to be stable in the car, and also not just to do my job, but on a day maybe if we have an accident or a crash, we need to be very strong physically to be able to deal with the loads involved with accidents as well.
I mean, yeah.
So as I say, a bit of swimming in the evenings, bit of weights. I wasn't a big weight guy because again I was way too tall for my job. 183 centimeters. I was 74 kilos when I was racing. I'm 80 now. I'm 80. There's 6 going on, but yeah. So that was cardio was a big thing for me because I couldn't really do much strength and conditioning work in terms of weight work. But yeah, lower back, hamstring length, all the boring stuff. You still need to weave that into your weekly program.
Yeah, and that cardio, getting your VO2 max up is actually really important to be a race driver, isn't it? 100%,
yeah. So bigger VO2, bigger tolerance to heat, bigger, I suppose, mental capacity to be able to absorb information in, because if I'm not stressed about, the agitation levels of a high heart rate, if I'm calm in the car, I'm calm on the radio, I need to talk to the team.
Yeah.
I've got to get all those things right because, so VO2 was a really good burden to have if you got that higher, got yourself in good shape. So, and that's where the interval work comes in, those sort of really, you can do big volumes, ticking over with, very low grade sort of work, but if you get the interval loads up, that's really where obviously the VO2 is lifting.
Yeah. And I guess with those technical trails as well, you're always thinking, where's your foot going next? Where's the next tree stump and things? And did that help with your mental capacity in the car?
Yes, because, I think always putting your foot somewhere different is nice for your mind. If you just run on a footpath, okay, it's better than nothing, clearly, absolutely great to get out. But, even having the opportunity to, as you say, descending down tree roots, different times of year, if it's slippery, if it's, is it rocky, So yeah, you have to have the ability to be able to, make those little decisions just granularly with your feet, and yeah, that's also a nice part of being, off-road.
Yeah. So how much do you get out and run these days now?
Well, it's probably been, when I'm in Australia, I generally try and run every second day at least.
Yeah.
Here, not as much, just because I seem to find myself a bit too busy, so I'd like to do a bit more, so grabbing sessions here and there.
That's really interesting you should say that, because you recently did a video called How to Fit in a Run When You're Short on Time.
Oh, good.
So I'll send you the link.
Watch that, get on the link.
Have a look.
Yes, get on that. So yeah, I need to, and that's why it is a great sport. So yes, to answer your question, a couple of times a week. If I can get out a couple of times a week, I'm happy. But I really struggle with motivation to get out in the cities, and that's when I'm traveling. For me to do this, not a burden. Yeah. I love getting out in this space, but in terms of cities, I really struggle with that.
I think I know what the answer to this question is going to be, but what's your favourite car to drive now?
Well,
bear in mind you have sponsorship.
Yeah, of course. Well, when I was young, poster on my wall was of a Porsche 959. So that was my dream car when I was a teenager. Yeah. And so I think Porsche was something which I could never ever imagine being in a position to drive one or own one. And yeah, as my racing went on, I got closer and closer to the brand, and I bought a Porsche when I probably shouldn't have, because I was with another manufacturer. We used to drive that obviously quietly. And then I was lucky enough to start a really good relationship, and I raced with Porsche. Yeah. So yeah, Porsche 911 is hard to beat. A lot of racing drivers, that's their go-to car, even though they can't say it is, but it is. So yeah.
Well, on that, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
No worries.
And having a chat with the running channel.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the running channel, and we'll see you for the next running with very soon.
And Aussie Grit Apparel, enjoy it. Thanks for the running channel too, it's been great. Get online. Ciao.